Widows City. Hi, it's Izzy. I'm back with Artist Way, week 9 and 10. And total side note, yes, I dyed my hair. Nobody's asking, but I'm telling you. I had terrible gloves, so my nails are also dyed. You know how that is? Also, if you're seeing this and you're like, wow, weeks 9 and 10, she's like been posting these videos for like videos for like 6 months. Yeah, I have been. I've read it and I've not filmed the videos. It's not a big deal. We're moving on. We're gonna start with week 9. It is recovering a sense of compassion. I'll read to you like what the first page says. Fear. One of the most important tasks in artistic recovery is learning to call things in ourselves by the right names. Most of us have spent years using the wrong names for our behaviors. We have wanted to create, and we have been unable to create, and we have called that inability laziness. I do that all the time. This is not merely inaccurate, it is cruel. Accuracy and compassion serve us far better. Blocked artists are not lazy. They are blocked. Being blocked and being lazy are two different things. The blocked artist typically expends a great deal of energy, just not visibly. The blocked artist spends energy on self-hatred, on regret, on grief, and on jealousy. The blocked artist spends energy on self-doubt. The blocked artist does not know how to begin with baby steps. Instead, the blocked artist thinks in terms of great, big, scary, impossible tasks. A novel, a feature film, a one-person show, an opera. When these large tasks are not accomplished, or even begun, the blocked artist calls that laziness. Do not call the inability to start laziness. Call it fear. Yeah, this week was hard. I say that about every week. Ugh. And I think what makes it harder is when she has these like compassionate looks at what we're doing to ourselves. It is actually a lot harder because it's easier to beat yourself over the head, brick, and be like, yeah, I am a piece of shit. I am terrible. I am lazy. And I don't know. It's a lot of what she does beyond just like be more creative. Let yourself be an artist. A lot of it is like that nervous system work. It's just about loving yourself enough, like giving yourself a fighting chance to be who you're meant to be, who you're supposed to be. Um, she talks a lot about one, the blocked artist, it being fear, regret, whatever it may be that keeps you from making, and then also creative U-turns. And so she talks about how oftentimes when we try things, we're like, oh, I'm going to be great. I'm going to do this. And we do. We give it a earnest try. We do try our hardest. And what happens is there's some times where it just doesn't work out. And that, again, makes us want to go back into our shell. Sorry, my phone is like... but back to creative U-turns. So there's some that are, of course, oh, I messed up and I'm scared to try again. And then where we almost like, we make the act of creating not about creating itself. We make it about being the best there was. We make it for an audience. We make it not for the sake of creation, but for the sake of recognition of creation. And it's really funny where she's like, sometimes that creative U-turn, sometimes that backing off of what you're doing, what happens is it actually gets you maybe not before you start or after a project has flopped. It could be right on the precipice of completing something that you're really proud of, and you're hit with this wave, and she calls like this wave of indifference where you're like, it doesn't really matter. I'm new at this. People are way farther along than me. This is, derivative. Nobody wants to see this. It's not good anyway, so I might as well just stop now. And just like, that's another way too. Like we almost, and it's that fear. It's the fear of maybe failing, the fear of not failing, the fear of whatever it may be, where like suddenly things get so tangible. They're like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, I gotta back away. And she says another way we would do creative U-turns. I'll read this part. Let's see. The glare of success can send the recovering artist scurrying back into the cave of self-defeat. We're more comfortable being a victim of artist block than risking having to consistently be productive and healthy. An artistic U-turn arrives at a sudden wave of indifference. We greet our newly minted product or our delightful process with, what does it matter anyhow? It's just a start. Everybody else is so much further ahead. Dot, dot, dot. Yes. And they will stay that way if we stop working. The point is, we have traveled light years from where we were when we were blocked. We are now on the road, and the road is scary. We begin to be distracted by roadside attractions and or detoured by the bumps. And that's really funny. I feel like I've experienced that because once you decide, you're like, no, I'm going to take this seriously. I am going to have this, whatever it may be, I am going to create. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. Suddenly, and I still struggle with this. I am currently struggling with this. Nothing I do is good enough, and it's all pointless anyway. That's how it feels sometimes. It just feels all pointless anyway. The ship has sailed. Train has left the station, partner. Let's go on. You might as well stop. You might as well stop. That's what it feels like. That's how, and that's kind of how I talk to myself, and it's funny because I would never say that to somebody else. I would never tell somebody else, it's too late for you. You're crazy. Don't even do it. Don't even try. Blah, 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 blah. It's a waste. Be serious. Get serious. I would never never say that to anyone else because I don't believe that. I don't believe that for other people. But also it's easier to not believe it for other people because I'm like, well, no, I guess it's self-centered and selfish because I'm like, well, no, I'm different. My shit's different. Like, it's different. You don't understand. Keep messing with my hair, obviously. I'm not going to my hair. They can be like, wow, it's really red. But yeah, I'm like, oh, no, my stuff's different. My stuff's different. You don't understand. And I feel myself do that in my own life where I will be doing really good. I'm like on this really great trajectory. And sometimes, and she kind of addresses this in the book, where we are on this journey, we're on this road and you're doing better. There's almost like another form of self-sabotage. So I would call it, I don't think she calls it that. That you're starting to like, oh, I'm changing, I'm becoming who I'm supposed to be. I am whatever this may be. And it's almost like you take on and you want to do riskier or greater things, not because of this like belief in yourself, but it's almost like, well, I can do it now. I can do it now. It's not about pushing yourself as much as it is being like, okay, I'm ready for the big thing now. I'm ready for the big thing. And it's almost a form of self-sabotage because I keep looking at my nails. Oh my God, they are so dyed. And I've done this like where I don't take stock of where I am, and I don't appreciate where I am or the journey I've been on, and I push myself to go way further than where I'm at. And it's not out of betterment for myself. It's kind of out of ego. It's kind of out of being like, I'm not appreciating where I am. I want to get past where I am. I don't want to get through where I am. I just want to like push past it and like, I don't want to do this part, whatever this is, whatever this shit is, I want to be done with it. I want to be at this thing now. And I think it's a form of self-sabotage. Like, you don't get to the bigger stuff before you go through the little shit. That's like, obviously. And because the reason I'm calling it self-sabotage is because when it doesn't work, and maybe it will, but like probably it won't work. Instead of being like, oh, that's okay, I can just get back up and do it again, we kind of like, it kind of bruises our ego. It kind of makes us feel like we're failures. And I think it's because we haven't gone through the little steps first. It's not about being, we have to be the best. It doesn't mean like, oh, you have to be trained in this or trained in that. It's like, no, you're kind of missing the point. Take risks and push yourself. But part of the risk is consistently sticking with something long enough. Despite what your brain tells you, despite being like, because I'll be like, oh, I haven't done this long enough. Let me just push myself. Let me speed it up. You can't speed it up. You can only do it. You know? I don't know if that makes any sense. It makes sense in my brain where it's like, you can't magically speed up the process. You can just stick with it. And then sometimes too, and it's like what she says, like creativity being energy. And sometimes you just strike gold and it's there. When you know that like you're really not in control, you're only here to show up and do it without pride, without ego, without giving a shit what people think about you. You're like, okay, I'm literally just here to do it. It doesn't matter how fast I do it. It doesn't matter when I started doing it. It doesn't matter if I started doing it, then I stopped. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. None of it matters. What matters is doing it and going through the process. And the greatest risk, again, does feel like sticking with it long enough and not jumping, not going like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this one right now. I'm going to do this crazy thing. That's not really giving yourself a fighting chance. But now here's some of the examples of creative U-turns of people being like, they're on a good path, they're on a good trajectory, and they just go like, oh, let me stop, okay? A screenwriter has an agent interested in repping a script with just a few changes. He doesn't make the changes. A performance artist is offered a space to use for workshopping his new material. He doesn't like his mixed reception indicating more work is needed, then stops working on new material at all. An actor is told to get his headshots together and check back in with a prestigious agent. He doesn't get his headshots, he doesn't check back in. An actress producer with a solid script is offered a studio deal to further develop her project. She finds fault with the deal and then shelves the project entirely. A painter is invited into a group show, his first, but picks a fight with the gallery owner. I think it's really interesting in that one specifically was it's like, and like I think these are great examples of we've all done these things, right? Because when it starts to be like, I really like the painter getting invited to a show and then he fights the gallery owner, right? Because it's almost like this seed of like we fight so hard for our right to be miserable and things not to work out for us. It's like she says in the book, often we'll look a gift horse in the mouth and we like send it right back. Like we don't want, and not that we don't want it, like we are so trained and accustomed, especially by this culture, to see the negative in everything, to see the failure in everything, to think that we are failures. Especially as artists, as creative people, like it's just not realistic. So it's like, we almost find ways to confirm these internal biases. Even if it's not there, we'll create it. Right? A poet reads some poems to very good public reception at a neighborhood open mic. Instead of continuing at this level and gaining strength, the poet enters a slam, loses, and stops reading publicly altogether. A lyricist hooks up with a new composer and they literally make beautiful music together. They demo 3 songs, which gets enthusiastic responses, and then stop working together. A fledgling photographer is greatly encouraged by her teacher's interest in her work. She botches developing one roll of film, then quits the class, claiming it was boring. It's really hard to read those. It's really, really hard to read those. Because I can see myself in all of those examples. Of course, I'm sure we all can. And it's like it's a shitty feeling. It's a terrible feeling to go, I have, I've done this to myself. I think it's a self-protection thing, obviously. But it still hurts when you no longer want to do it anymore. You want to be like, I want to be better. And I think what's even harder, as she talks about, is like, you're going to have these seasons of creative U-turns. You're going to have seasons. And it's like, I think it's an interview. It's not quite the same, but it's kind of the same. Of, what's it? I can't even think. Lauryn Hill, and she's talking about, like peaks and valleys in life. And she does not say, she goes, you have seasons of mastery and seasons of learning, and seasons of mastery and seasons of learning. And it's really funny because even that simple perspective switch kind of goes like, oh, okay, yeah. There's seasons of mastery and seasons of learning. And I think the goal is to just not stop. It's to continue walking. It's not to just like, lay down and be like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm tired. And that's just kind of it. You just got to take the hits and just keep going, which sucks. And I think that then that's what she talks about too, about creative U-turns, where it's like, essentially what happens then as you grow and as you accept yourself, you take these creative U-turns. And like we can apply that outside of just being an artist or creative. Just U-turns in your life, and you start, whether self-inflicted or from an outside force. I think it's not about us totally not having them, but our ability to recover from them, And then as you get better recovering or seeing the creative U-turn for what it is, I think you get better at avoiding it. You get better at getting back on track and it not like just totally derailing you. That's how I feel about myself right now, okay? Another really great thing that she talks about is there's so much of this. It's like we are so egotistical. We are so egotistical. We make everything about ourselves. We want to do everything by ourselves. It's good. Once we admit the need for help, the help arrives. The ego always wants to claim self-sufficiency. It'd rather pose as a creative loner than ask for help. Ask anyway. I think it's really hard too to ask for help and be earnest because then you're putting things on the line. You're admitting that you care a lot about something. That's hard. to go to somebody outside and say, I want help. Can you, like, what can I do for this? Who do you know? What do you do? Can you look at this? Can you, blah, 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 blah. And I think we know, even now, like, this book was written in the 90s. I think more so now than ever before, we live in a culture where everybody's just kind of like nonchalant. Like, whatever. We're nonchalant. We're not me. I'm so chalant. It's disgusting. There's nothing a part of me that's there's not one part of me that's nonchalant. Oh my God. I try to pretend it. Doesn't work. I keep messing with my bangs. But yeah, I think that's what it is, because reaching out to people, and again, especially now, like, it's hard because you have to admit that you care enough about something that you're like letting other people know that you care enough about it. Like, you're not some great world famous artist or musician or writer or this or that. And you still want to help, and you still want to tell people that, like, oh, this is something that I'm passionate about. And it's really hard, especially when you're being creative in a real earnest way. It feels very personal. It feels very close and near and dear to your heart. At least it does for me. And it's hard to open up like that. Yeah. Ah, sorry. I had like a lot of things like highlighted. I'm like, what do I have highlighted here? Another, this one had like just a lot of work on, hey, you're good. We just gotta call this stuff for what it is. It was really transformative to be like, stop calling your fear laziness. You know, that's hard. I do that a lot. I do that a lot to myself. And it is. It's easier to be miserable and hate yourself than it is to admit that you deserve compassion. And part of being compassionate for yourself or to yourself, it's making promises and keeping them to yourself. It's pushing yourself past your comfort zone. I think we have a really skewed idea of what compassion is. People are like, oh, it's so soft. You don't be so soft in yourself. People don't need to be so soft. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Dude, shut up. Keep hating yourself, calling yourself a loser, and blah, 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 made you better and made you the person you were supposed to be. You'd be the person you were supposed to be. That's crazy. I'll admit, that works, that tactic of like self-hatred and self-shame and like, oh, I just can't be a piece of shit. That works enough. It works to a degree, it works to an extent. It's not sustainable. You're not making serious life changes. You're not doing the internal work of being like, God dang it, man, I'm sad. I'm sad and I'm messed up and I'm disappointed and I'm scared and I'm egotistical and I'm prideful and I'm insecure. And I just want stuff to work out and I want to make things, but I'm like a little stupid kid running around that is looking for approval in people, in relationships, in accolades, in my work. Like, I'm not doing shit for me and it's killing me. Part of having compassion for yourself, it's not making excuses for yourself, it's understanding why you do the things you do and how you can change them in a real way. And I had to get to the point where it's like, I want to do this and I want to be better, not because I'm some terrible person, not because I'm afraid of being a loser, but because I deserve some type of semblance of happy, fulfilling life. And I think she has like an exercise, it's in one of the earlier weeks, where it's like treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. And she's like, it's like a misnomer that we have to be hard on ourselves to make ourselves better. The hard work is being compassionate to yourself. And I don't mean, look, I'm messing with my hair. I don't mean, like, being compassionate to yourself doesn't mean making excuses and breaking promises to yourself. It means giving yourself a fighting chance. That's what it means. It's not like you just gotta, like, do all this, man. You gotta do all this because you're terrible. You need to not be a loser, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The people that you know like that are the most miserable assholes you've lived or experienced in life. They're terrible to be around. Just because I say the truth and I'm getting stuff done and people don't like you. No, it's because you're an asshole. It's because you're an asshole, man. Because you're an asshole. I've been there. I can say that. I've been the asshole. Sure, you get things done, but you're a miserable asshole. What is the point? If you are still a miserable asshole, if you're still running around like some insecure kid trying to prove that you're not an insecure kid because you get things done. And I make stuff. And I'm like, On to week 10. I'm not going to do all of, I'm not going to go through all the exercises she did. This one is really funny though. Because it's about creative U-turns. She said, choose one creative U-turn, retrieve it, mend it, Do not take a creative U-turn now. I did, by the way. I totally took a creative U-turn. Instead, notice your resistance. Morning pages seem difficult, stupid, pointless, too obvious. Do them anyway. I find that morning pages are so hard. I've not done my morning pages, by the way, for a few days. Anyway, we're going on to week 10. Here's week 10. Okay. Week 10. Recovering a sense of self-protection. So, let's start. Dangers of the trail. Creativity is God energy flowing through us, shaped by us like light flowing through a crystal prism. Total side note. I love this book. She says, so God energy. Sometimes she'll say, like, if you don't believe in God, God is good, orderly direction. That gets you. I remember seeing a interview with the lead singer of Lamb of God, and he mentioned, so he's like, do you believe in God? He's like, yeah. It's like, I once read some of her songs. It was like, good, orderly direction. I'm like, I know you've read The Hardest Way, pal. That's right. You've read The Hardest Way. Total side note. But I was like, that's cool. Don't know why I went on that. Anyway, let's restart. So week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. Dangers of the trail. Creativity is God energy flowing through us, shaped by us, like light flowing through a crystal prism. When we are clear about who we are and what we are doing, the energy flows freely and we experience no strain. When we resist with what that energy might show us or where it might take us, we often experience a shaky, out-of-control feeling. We want to shut down the flow and regain our sense of control. We slam on the psychic brakes. Every creative person has a myriad of ways to block creativity. Each of us favors one or two ways particularly toxic to us because they block us so effectively. This was tough, by the way, this week. For some people, food is a creativity issue. Eating sugar or fats or certain carbohydrates may leave them feeling dulled, hungover, unable to focus, blurry. They use food to block energy and change. As the shaking feeling comes over them, that they are going too fast and God knows where, that they are about to fly apart, these people reach for food. A big bowl of ice cream, an evening of junk food, and their system clogs. What was I thinking? What? Oh, never mind. For some people, alcohol is the favorite block. For others, drugs. For many, work is the block of choice. Busy, busy, busy. They grab for tasks to numb themselves with. They can't take a half hour's walk. What a waste of time. Must-dos and multiple projects are drawn to them like flies to a soda can in the sun. They go buzz, 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 swat. As they brush aside the stray thought, that was the breakthrough insight. There's more. Shit, I'll read it, man. I think that's a lot of reading. I'll read it, though. I'll read it. For others, an obsession with painful love places creative choice outside their hands. Reaching for the painful thought, they become instant victims rather than feel their own considerable power. Just reaching for a painful thought. That one's relatable. If only he or she would just love me, ... The obsessive thought drowns out the little voice that suggests rearranging the living room, taking a pottery class, trying a new top on that story that's stimmy. The minute a creative thought raises its head, it is lopped off by the obsession, which blocks fear and prevents risk. Going out dancing, reading the whole play with an inner city theme. If only he or she would love me. So much for West Side Story. Sex is the great block for many. A mesmerizing, titillating, hypnotic interest slides novel erotic possibilities in front of the real novel. The new sex object becomes the focus for creative approaches. Now note carefully that food, work, and sex are all good in themselves. It is the abuse of them that makes them creativity issues. Knowing yourself as an artist means acknowledging which of these you abuse when you want to block yourself. Alex gotta read the rest of this. You gotta hear it. If creativity is like a burst of the universe breath to the straw that is each of us, we pinch that straw whenever we pick up one of our blocks. We shut down our flow and we do it on purpose. Yeah, I'm gonna pause here for a second. This is the worst. This is the worst. This is the worst. This is the worst. We do it on purpose. I've gotten to the point where there's a time where you do things that are self-destructive. You don't really realize you're doing it on purpose. It's old hat. It's just kind of comfortable. But damn, dude. Oh my God. I remember telling somebody, it's like, I'm struggling with this, right? Like, no, you go through this. And I said, no, you don't understand. The worst part is I don't even want to do it. And I'm still doing it. And it's like a compulsion, and I'm drawn to it. And I know it doesn't serve me well. And it's almost more painful when you know how much it doesn't serve you well and you still do it. Oh my God. That shit will make you want to bang your head against the wall. Because what idiot just does the things that they don't want to do? Sorry. Makes me feel that way. We're so chill. We're so chill. I'm gonna read this. We do it on purpose. We begin to sense our real potential and the wide range of possibilities open to us. That scares us. So we all reach for. I'm gonna restart this really quick. My nose is itchy. We begin to sense our real potential and the wide range of possibilities open to us. That scares us. So we all reach for blocks to slow our growth. If we are honest with ourselves, we all know which blocks are the toxic ones for us. I know I do. Clue. This is the block we defend as our right. Bro! One of those things, like, like when a friend or family member or anybody's like, hey, I think you have a problem with this. You're like, you know what? I don't really think I do. Actually, I think it's funny that you're talking about my problems when, like, look at your life, bitch. Come see your life is, bitch. Look at that. Look at that, bitch. I'm like, I'm bad for that. Line up the possibilities. Which one makes you angry to even think about giving up? The explosive one is the one that has caused you the most derailment. Examine it. When asked to name our poison, most of us can. Has food sabotaged me? Has workaholism sabotaged me? Has sex or love obsession blocked my creativity? Mix and match is a common recipe for using blocks. Use one, add another, mix in a third. Wear yourself out. The object of all this blocking is to alleviate fear. We turn to our drug of choice to block our creativity whenever we experience the anxiety of our inner emptiness. It is always fear, often disguised, but always there. That leads us to grabbing for a block. Usually we experience the choice to block as a coincidence. She happened to call. I felt hungry and there was some ice cream. He dropped by with some dope. The choice to block always works in the short run and fails in the long run. Bro. But this one is really powerful too. Because it's easy when you have these habits, whatever they may be. Or we would call them blocks, obviously unhealthy habits. And it's like, why do I do this? Why do I do this so much? But when you can really sit with it for a second and go, I'm doing this because I'm afraid. These are really self-destructive things that I've done when I'm afraid because it alleviates some of the pain and some of the fear. And what it doesn't alleviate anything, but it just kind of like numbs it for a while. And that's when she talks about, like, whenever we experience the anxiety of our inner emptiness. Holy shit, man, that sucks. That sucks. It sucks. This was really good. This was really good. The reader was just like, man, it sucks so much. It sucks so much. And she talks about, too, this, all about this creative journey and just going through life. This goes again with, I think, the peaks and valleys, times of mastery, times of learning, mastery and learning. And, how it's not realistic for everything to always be peachy keen. You're not going to be this, like, everything's great, and my career's great, and my life's great, and creativity's great, and blah, 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 blah. It's not going to happen. And that can be some of the hardest, right? Especially because if you're like, I've experienced this here. It's like, I've been doing better. Shit was supposed to be different. It was supposed to be different. And I kind of picked up some little habits because I was like, what's happening? Like, I thought I was going to get different results. And like, that's hard. It's really hard. Like, I've been doing hard work, man. I've been doing hard work. And I picked up some blocks because I was afraid and I was anxious. Instead of holding on, I took my creative U-turn and I'm here. But, so it's about creative drought. We'll read this a little bit. In any creative life, there are dry seasons. These droughts appear from nowhere and stretch to the horizon like a Death Valley vista. Life loses its sweetness, our work feels mechanical, empty, forced. We feel we have nothing to say, and we are tempted to say nothing. Been there? Those are the times when the morning pages are most difficult and most valuable. And for anybody watching, if you're not sure what morning pages are, morning pages are, you wake up in the morning, right? And you just you write journal 3 pages, stream of consciousness. Just get it out. And like the most petty things you could think of. I mean, and you don't read them again. Except there's one exercise in the book where you do. Let's see. We'll go to this part. Droughts do end. Droughts end because we have kept writing our pages. They end because we have not collapsed to the floor of our despair and refused to move. We have doubted, yes, but we have stumbled on. No kidding, when I read that the first time, I low-key cried. There's something about that. And this is, I'll read a little bit before this, before we get there. During a drought, emotions are dried up. Like water, they may exist somewhere underneath, but we have no access to them. A drought is a tearless time of grief. We are between dreams, too listless to even know our losses. We put one page after another, more from habit than hope. And yet we write our mourning pages because we must. Droughts are terrible. Droughts hurt. Droughts are long, airless seasons of doubt that make us grow. Give us compassion and blossom as unexpectedly as the desert with sudden flowers. Droughts do end. Droughts end because we have kept writing our pages. They end because we have not collapsed to the floor of our despair and refused to move. We have doubted, yes, but we have stumbled on. In a creative life, droughts are a necessity. The time in the desert brings us clarity and charity. When you are in a drought, know that it is to a purpose, and keep writing morning pages. To write is to write things. Sooner or later, always later than we like, our pages will bring things right. A path will emerge, and insight will be a landmark that shows the way out of the wilderness. Dancer, sculptor, actor, painter, playwright, poet, performance artist, potter, artist, all, the morning pages are both our wilderness and our trail. That part was really sweet. That was hard, and that was much needed. When you're, especially when you're somebody like me, so you're kind of prone to get beating yourself over the head with a brick, being like, you piece of shit. And then, another thing. I love doing this, by the way. I'm like, I think that's how I should have set these up. I should just go through what she discusses. This was a really hard week to read and go through. It was really good, but god dang, it was hard. We'll read this part. Then she talks about fame. Another way that, because week 10's all about self-protection, as we've discussed. Another way that we essentially don't protect ourselves from our blocks, from all this is that. She talks about fame. Let's hear that. Fame encourages us to believe that if it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen. Of course, it is fame. Fame is not the same as success. In our true souls, we know that. We know and have felt success at the end of a good day's work. But fame, it is addictive and it always leaves us hungry. Fame is a spiritual drug. It is often a byproduct of our artistic work. But like nuclear waste, it can be a very dangerous byproduct. Fame, the desire to attain it, the desire to hold on to it, can produce the how am I doing syndrome. The question is not, is the work going well? The question is, how does it look to them? Shit, man. Shit. I think, again, and she wrote this before we had social media, before we had all this, and it's crazy because now we can all be these little, niche internet micro celebrities in, our phones, and, it creates it, and I've been there where you're like, well, what do they think? And it's no longer about the act of creating. It's no longer creativity for creativity's sake, which she's right. That is what's fulfilling. That is what an actual artist is. They are creating to create. They're letting creative energy flow through them and putting something out in the world to get received by people, just to know that they did it, they created it. It's hard. The point of the work is the work. Fame interferes with that perception. Instead of acting, it becomes about being a famous actor. Instead of writing being about writing, or writing being about writing, it becomes about being recognized, not just published. We all like credit where credit is due. As artists, we don't always get it. Yet focusing on fame, on whether we are getting enough, creates a continual feeling of lack. There is never enough of the fame drug. Wanting more will always snap at our heels. Discredit our accomplishments, erode our joy at another's accomplishment. To test this, read any of the many fan magazines. People Frisk is to see if afterward your life somehow feels more shabby, less worthwhile. This is the fame drive at work. I love this, by the way, because like I said, this was in the 90s, so she's like, read that People magazine at the grocery checkout. Bitch, it's not anymore. We got tiny evil People magazines on our phone making us sick. Karen down the street's living a better life than me. Samantha living a better life than me. I don't need People magazine. I got those guys. That's all. But, it's really great. I don't know. This was just a really good week. 9 and 10 were really good. I feel like weeks 9 through 12, because like I said, I've read them all and I'm just going back and doing the videos now. I had to read a few of these more. But, and he talks about competition and, ego. And again, she focuses so much on ego. And I'll read this last part of like self protection, like how every way that we shoot ourselves in the foot to keep from winning the race, or not even winning the race, completing the race. And I think that's even a better way to like, it's not about winning the race, it's just about finishing it. Duh. But let's read this. A competitive focus encourages snap judgments. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Does this product deserve to live? No, our ego will say if it is looking for the fail-safe, surefire product that is a winner at a glance and for good. Many hits are sure things only in retrospect. Until we know better, we call a great many creative swans ugly ducklings. This is an indignity we offer our brain children as they rear their heads in our consciousness. We judge them like beauty pageant contestants. In a glance, we may cut them down. We forget that not all babies are born beautiful. And so we abort the lives of our awkward or unseemly projects that may be our finest work. Our best creative ugly ducklings in active art needs time to mature. Judged early, it may be judged incorrectly. Holy shit, man! Ah. Damn it, dude! I love it. I love this book. I'll read this 6 times a year. Maybe I'll learn something from it. Never ever judge a fledgling piece of work too quickly. Be willing to paint or write badly while your ego yelps resistance. Your bad writing may be syntactical? I think I pronounced that right. Breakdown necessary for a shift in your style. Your lousy painting may be pointing you in a new direction. Art needs time to incubate, to sprawl a little, to be ungainly and misshapen and finally emerge as itself. The ego hates this fact. The ego wants instant gratification in the addictive hit of an acknowledged win. The need to win now is a need to win approval from others. As an antidote, we must learn to approve of ourselves. Showing up for the work is the win that matters. Once again, so then she breaks it down even further where she's like, damn, y'all, all this that you're doing, all this running around in circles, all this like cutting yourself out before you even grow and this and that, it's because you don't like yourself. Because you are looking and seeking external validation to prove that you're okay, and it's keeping you from ever being okay. And not only that, it's literally killing your creativity. It's killing everything you have to offer because you cannot stand your own skin and you need other people to justify your existence. Bummer. Weeks 9 and 10 were awesome, though. I'll be posting weeks 11 and 12 tomorrow. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe.